Okay, so before 2 days we saw for how to work on with variables and then functions, what are the different return types, all those stuffs we saw. So let me go there and then I'll just show you. So what are things we have seen till now? So we have seen actually what functions, basic, normally how to write a function, and then the return type we have seen, and then method overloading, and then the constructor basics we have seen. So once again, we are going to jump on with the same information. So let me ask you some questions. So I'm going to write a class ABC. So always a class will have a main function for sure, because only when we have a main function, then only I can execute my program, correct? Then now tell me, I want to write a constructor, okay, a default constructor. Can anyone help me how to write a default constructor? Hi Rajkumar, can you tell me how to write a default constructor? So what will be the constructor name?
Default constructor, I think we can write with the new keyword.
No, first I need to write a constructor. So how we write a function?
Okay, just a name of the constructor.
Super. Constructors will be same as like my class name. Okay, yeah, always the constructor name is my class
return type.
Correct. It will not have a return type. Then
open and close braces.
Yes, it's a default constructor. So I don't want any information there. So it is going to print. It's a default constructor. Good. So then next I want a constructor which is going to accept an integer argument. Can you tell me how I can write that? Saujanya, can you help me how to write a integer argument constructor? A constructor which accepts integer argument. Can you tell me? Like to give a try?
ABC.
Super. ABC.
In parentheses.
Super. Then open and close it. Integer argument constructor. Correct? Super. Then after that, I want to call a constructor. So anyone, Rajkumar or Saujanya, can anyone tell me if I want to call the default constructor, how actually what I can call it? If I want to call my default constructor, how I can call it?
Call the new keyword with a constructor name.
Super. New ABC. Whenever we create an object, okay, so when creating an object here, if I don't pass any argument, it calls me the default constructor. If I pass an argument, that is 10, now the constructor which is accepting integer argument will be called. Okay, by default that will be called. So this 10 will be stored under the a variable. So this will be the local variable for this constructor. Got it? That's it. Okay, so any questions on this? That's it. So always constructor will be called whenever we create an object by default. We don't need to do anything. By default that will be called there. So then next. I will show you one program. I want you guys to execute that so that you guys will understand more. Constructor we have seen. The next thing is I want to show you guys static and then non-static blocks over here. So let me create. Build a package, allow my main function. I'll make it as a package, so that means I will not get the public keyword there. That's the one thing. Okay, so now, so here we know about the constructor. Now we are going to talk about actually what? The static and then non-static initialization block. What is that static and then non-static initialization block means? So simple. Okay, what is a block? Any information that starts with actually what? A flower brace and then it closes. That will be called as a block there. Okay, so here when we don't have any keyword, just give me a minute, I'm gonna type. Okay, when we don't have any keyword, that will be called as a non-static block. Okay, I can have multiple non-static blocks here. This is, I'll give it as non-static block 1. This is non-static block 2. Okay, I can have multiple non-static blocks over there. Same thing, if I have a block which has a keyword here as static. Then this is called as a static block. That is, we used to call it a static initialization block. We used to call it as a static initialization block. Otherwise, it's called as non-static initialization block. Correct? I'll have one more block here. Okay, so there are 2 non-static initialization block and then there are 2 static initialization block. Okay, so I can have multiple blocks. So how these blocks will be called, that is what we need to know. So here I'll have program starts. Program ends. Right click, run as Java application. Before executing my main function, the static blocks are executed in a sequential order one by one. Okay, always static blocks will be executed in sequential order one by one here. Okay, so how non-static blocks will be executed? So simple, as usual we know, always non-static members will be executed only when we create an object. Correct? Only when we create an object, non-static blocks will be executed. See? Right click, run as the application. So first, static blocks are executed in a sequential order. Static initialization block 1, static initialization block 2. Then after that, main function starts to execute. Program starts. Then after that, I'm creating an object. Now what will happen? When I created the object, all the non-static blocks are being executed in a sequential order. Then after that, program ends. So I already told you static blocks as a single copy. So this will be executed only once in the entire program. But non-static blocks, if you see, if I create another object, see, scissor. If I create another object, so now what will happen? Once again, the non-static blocks will be executed for me. See, right click, run as Java application. See, static initialization blocks are executed first at the beginning. Then my main function starts to execute. program starts. Then after that, I'm creating an object. Now both the non-static blocks are being executed. Then again control comes here. Then it prints me this. Then after that, once again I'm creating an object. Now what will happen? Once again the non-static blocks are being executed for me. Then after that control comes here, program ends. Now I will have a constructor also. This is a default constructor. Now when I run it, see, first non-static blocks will be executed. Then after that only the constructors will be executed for me. That is, the highest priority will be given to the non-static blocks, then only the constructors. Static block as usual, at the beginning it will be executed once. Non-static blocks for every object creation, that will be executed. After that, the constructor. But what is the difference? Non-static blocks also will execute the statements when we create the object. Constructors also will be executed when we create the object. Then what is the difference means? This is the difference. I have one more constructor which is accepting an integer argument. Okay. So now this is going to call the integer constructor. See, now when I execute, see now, so first static blocks are being executed. Static installation block 1, static installation block 2. Then after that, actually what? Come to the main function, program starts. Program starts. Then it's going to create me the object. Now what will happen right now? When we create the object, so that is going to call me the non-static blocks. So non-static blocks will be executed in sequential order. Then after that, actually what? It goes and call me. So right now, am I passing any argument here? No, that will go and call me the default constructor. Got it? Then after that, the dashes. Then next, once again, I'm creating an object. Now I'm passing some argument here. Now what happened? Again, the non-static blocks will be executed sequentially one by one. Then after that, actually what? I'm passing an integer argument. So this will go and call me integer argument. Then finally, it's integer argument constructor. Got it? So non-static blocks will be executed at any point of time when the object has been created. But constructors will be executed based on the argument passage. Okay? Based on the argument passage, the constructors will be executed for us. Got it? Any questions for anyone on this?
What is the use of these blocks?
Sorry, use of the
Blocks.
blocks, right? So, right, usually, so we don't use it in our Selenium, but developers, they use it, these static and non-static blocks. So static blocks, what they used to do is usually they will have it for actually what the initialization point. So we have some global variables. So those global members actually what values will be assigned in the static block level for the static members. Okay. So right now for me, now one more thing is what means whenever I have some set of statements that need to be executed at the very beginning of my information, that should be the first level of execution. So those things I can have it under the static block. So that I don't want to have it over there in a method and then I need to call the method. Instead of that, when I have it over there in the static block, that will be executed by default. So I don't want to call them explicitly every time. That's the advantage of actually what having in the static block. Then if you see non-static blocks, every time whenever we create an object, it should not be, that is the information that need to be executed, either it can be with actually what argument or without argument. So always there are some set of statements it's mandatory need to be executed. We will keep it in the non-static blocks. Then finally, constructors will be executed based on the argument passage. So I don't want it to be dependent on the argument passage. Any point of time, I need to execute some set of statements. Means we used to have it under the non-static blocks. Usually we don't have multiple non-static blocks. We don't use it. Always we will have a single static block and then a single non-static block only. We don't use multiple. But when we have multiple, it executes in sequential order. That's the only one thing. But that answers your question, Rajkumar?
Yeah, and we don't use these blocks in Selenium at all.
Very rare. Very rare. Non-static blocks we might use, but static blocks we don't use. Non-static blocks also very rare. I have not used still now, but I have seen some places they use also. That's what I told it. If it is not, it should not be, some set of statements should not be dependent on my constructor argument passage level. Then we can put it into the non-static block. Got it? So now I will show you one program. Okay, so we are going to execute this program. So I will just take it and then put it here. Okay, so now I just want you guys to execute this program. See here, we have 1 and 2 non-static blocks, and then 1 static block, 1 default constructor, 1 integer argument constructor, and then 1 integer and double argument constructor, then 1 double and integer argument constructor. Then my main function. So first program starts, and then I'm creating an object where we are not passing any argument. So that time non-static blocks will be executed in a sequential order. Then the constructor which does not have any argument will be executed, correct? So before that, static blocks will be executed at the first place, correct? So when we are going to execute the static block, here itself I'm creating an object. That means what will happen? First non-static blocks, then the matching constructor, then again control comes here, then obj.i. So I value 10. Then static block 2 will be printed. Then after that, control comes to the main function. Then after that, again creates an object. So 2 non-static blocks, and then after that 1 default constructor. Okay, like that, that will be executed for us. Clear? Understood, please? So I want you guys to just give a try. At least 50% if you execute also is good for me. So can you guys try this? Just I'll give you 5 minutes of time Can you guys execute and then just tell me at least 50% of the output? Okay, cool. So I'll give a 5 minutes of time. Just try to execute at least 50% of it. Okay, guys?
Okay.
Yeah, thank you. 5 minutes, you guys have to try. Okay, thank you. Yes. So you guys are able to execute it?
Yeah, tried.
Okay. So let me try once. Just cross check whether your output is same. So let me start it. So first, whenever we execute, I told you always a memory location will be done. The class name, sorry, the memory name will be my class name with some hexadecimal number. Then after that, the first memory which will be created will be my static pool, correct? Then after that, so it loads all the static members. So right now we have one static initialization block. Then after that, my main function. So only we have these two things, public static void main. Then the first in memory which will be executed is what? My static pool. So the static pool first it starts to execute for us. So a local memory for the static pool will be created. Local memory for the SAP will be created. Then it comes here. The first information static block will be created. Then after that, I'm going to create an object. Constructor obj equal to new constructor. Okay. So first we are going to create the object. Whenever we create the object, what happened? I told you. So it creates me the object memory location. The object is created. The object name is obj. Then after that, it loads all the global members. It can be static or it can be non-static. So always static members, I told you, it will be taken from this static pool. So it will take the public static void main, not the static and static insertion blocks on top. It will take the public static void main. Apart from that, we don't have any static members here. So static insertion blocks will not be loaded here. Okay. Then after that, next what will be loaded? My non-static blocks. So before that, we have a non-static variable. I'll take that, the non-static variable. Then after that, I have IB1, IB2. So both the non-static blocks will be loaded. Then after that, my constructor, that is right now, am I passing any argument here? No, that means the constructor which does not have an argument will be matched. That will be loaded. Then apart from that, do we have anything? That's all. Okay. Then after that, it's a known thing. The non-static blocks will be executed first. So for that, a local memory will be created for the non-static blocks. So both the things will be executed. So I'm just drawing now itself. So first time, local memory for IAB. Okay. So IAB is actually what called as a non-static initialization block. Okay. IAB1. So now it will execute. So it will print me non-static block 1. Then after that, it's going to print me I. Here it comes to the local memory of IAB1. Do we have I variable here? No. From where this actually what IAB1 it came? It came from this object. It came from this object. So now what happened right now? It comes to this place. Here do we have I variable? Yes. The value is what? 10. So 10 will be loaded. 10 will be printed. Now it comes out of the non-static blocks. Then next, now what will happen? It deletes the memory. Then after that, the second non-static block will start to execute. So that time it creates a memory, local memory for the IAB2. local memory for IAB2. Then it prints me non-static block 2. Then it comes out of the non-static block. Then the memory will be deleted by the garbage collector. Then next actually what? My constructor will start to execute. So local memory for the constructor. Local memory for the constructor right now. Then it just prints me default constructor alone. Then after that, the memory will be deleted with the garbage collector. Then next actually what? Control again comes over here. obj.I. Now goes to the obj. Do we have I variable? Yes, the value is what? 10. 10 will be printed for me. Then static block 2. So now static block is executed. Now what happened? It comes to the main function and main function starts to execute. Now a local memory for the main will be created. Still now, anyone ask any questions? Anyone ask any questions? You guys are clear? You can just ping me as yes if you're clear so far. Super. So cool. That's great. So next, main function starts to execute for me. So now when the main function starts to execute, now first it prints me program starts. Then next actually what? I'm going to create an object again. So now am I passing any argument? No. So now an object will be created. Object name is obj. Then next actually what? Static members will be loaded. That is my one more thing. Once this static insertion block is executed, this memory will be deleted. So then next, my main function, all the static members, that is we have only main function alone, that will be loaded here. Then my non-static variable. Then after that, I have two non-static blocks over there. And then after that, the constructor which is matching is without an argument. Then this constructor. So here I will just copy IB1 and 2. Then the constructor which does not have an argument. That will be loaded. Okay. So then next actually what? For me, the non-static block has been executed. Okay. Then next, local memory for the IAB1 will be created. Then it prints non-static block 1. Then next system.println I. So now what happened? Goes to the local memory of IAB1. Here do we have I variable? No. From where it came? It came from this object. Here do we have I variable? Yes, the value is 10. It prints 10 for me. Then after that comes out of this non-static block. Okay. Then the memory will be deleted. Then next actually what? Non-static block 2. So again, a local memory for that will be created. Then next actually what? It prints non-static block 2. Then after that comes out of the non-static blocks over there. Then the memory is deleted. Got it. So the name alone I can just copy from here and there. So it will be easy. Then next actually what? For me, non-static blocks are executed, then the constructor. So now the constructor, which does not have an argument for me. So that will be executed. So I'll just copy paste from here itself instead of writing it. The same thing. So I have here. Now it just prints me default constructor. Then after that it comes out of the constructor, then the memory is deleted for me here. Okay. Then system.println obj.i goes to the obj. What is the I value? That is 10. Then again it creates me a new object, new constructor of 100. So that means what? 100 is what? It's an integer argument. So the constructor which is matching integer argument. But before that, both the non-static blocks. So here once again, I will copy paste these two things because we know that these two things are going to be executed. I will just take from here itself. So first let me create the object here. So object name is obj1. And after that my main function, I'll take it from there. All the informations which is there, everything will come. Main function, then integer I equal to 10, I be 1 and 2. Then next actually what? I'm passing an integer argument, so it matches with this integer argument constructor. Then after that, as usual, the non-static blocks will start to execute. So I'll just copy paste from here itself. Then as usual, it prints non-static block 1. Then I value is what? It goes and checks from the specific object obj1. It prints me 10, comes out of it, and then the memory is deleted. Then again actually what? Executes a non-static block 2. Memory is created, then it executes. Then after that actually what? Deletes the memory. Now the constructor which is accepting integer argument. Then after that, then next thing is, so here integer a, right? So integer a, so for that the variable name integer a is equal to, so what is the value I'm passing over there? It is 100. So 100, that will be loaded. Okay. Then next actually what? Control comes here, integer u equal to 100. So it creates me one more variable here called u. Integer u equal to 100. Then next actually what? System.println I. So now it comes to the constructor. Here do we have I variable? No. From where this constructor came? obj1. Here do we have I variable? Yes, the value is 10. Then next actually what? System.println a. So here do we have a variable? Yes, that is 100. Then next integer argument constructor. Then comes out of the constructor, the memory is bit deleted. Got it? So this is how it will be executed. Any questions on this? Any questions on this?
In real time, do we use these long?
No. So in real time, we always create only one object for a class. We don't create multiple objects. Just for an understanding only, here we are trying to create these many objects.
Okay.
Real time, we don't create more than one object. If you are creating one, that's a very bad practice. Got it right? Cool. Any questions for anyone, guys? Okay. So same thing will follow for the rest of the things also. Okay. So this is how constructors and then static and non-static blocks are being executed. Got it? Cool. So can both of you ping me as yes if you have understood this so far? You guys are clear? Cool. Okay, so we have done with the constructors and static and non-static blocks over here. The next thing we will go with the usage of actually what post and pre-increment over there. So let me open for that.
Can you give me one best example where we should use constructor and where we should not? Where we have to use methods.
Sure. So constructors level, if you see, it is mandatory. Actually, what we have some set of statements that will be executed for me whenever we create an object. So in Selenium framework level, when we come, so for me right now, I'm going to create an object for that class. Got it? Whenever I'm going to create the object there, so now what will happen? There are some set of actually what global variables will be there for that class, or some global objects will be there. So for all those things, actually what in the constructor level, I will create the reference for it. So why we will be doing that means because it is so mandatory for me for the entire program. At the beginning itself, I need to assign some values for it. So for all those things, actually what we will use the constructors. Once when we create the object itself, so all these global references are being assigned a value. That is what we'll do. Method level, if you see over there, I have some set of statements that need to be executed for each and every time. A lot of times actually what I need to execute it. So those time make it as a method and then utilize it whenever it is needed alone. That answers your question, Rajkumar?
Yeah. So basically, constructors will use to assign some values to the variable.
It's like in framework level, we are using in that way in our automation. Mm-hmm. So developers, they might be having some other their own usage.
Okay.
In our side, we use it for assigning some values and then after that making and giving it over there to the global level. That's why we used to do in that way.
Okay.
Yeah. Then now we are going to talk about post and pre-increment. So what are this post and pre-increment or decrement means? So before that, we need to know there are two types of operators that are available. One is binary, another one is unary. So binary operator is what till now we have seen. What is the binary operator if you see? A plus B, A minus B, A divided by B, okay? A into B, all those things actually what are binary operators. Okay, all those things are actually what our binary operators. So another one unary. So in binary operators, if you see, we will have two operands and then one operator alone. So A plus B, A minus B, if you see over there. So A and B are called as operands. Then the plus and minus are all actually what called as a what is A minus plus, all those things are called as actually what your operators. Okay. Next one is unary operators. So what is this unary operator? If you see over there, it will have only one operand, but it will have two operators. Okay, I plus plus, I minus minus. Okay, so or plus plus I minus minus I. So those things are actually what my unary operators. Got it? Understood? So right now for me, if you see, only one operator, one operand, and then after that we have actually what? Two operators. So those things are called as unary operators for me. So how this works is what actually we are going to see. So now I'll come here. I told you in that unary operators we have post, post increment or decrement, or pre increment or decrement we have. So how these both works is what we are going to see. Okay. So now I plus plus. Okay. This is called as actually what? Post increment. So I plus plus or I minus minus. So these two things are actually what called as post increment or post decrement. Same thing, plus plus I minus minus I. This is called as a pre-increment or a decrement. So how this is going to work means so simple. If you see this small example, integer I is equal to 0. Here I am going to give integer j is equal to I plus 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 I plus plus. Now if you see, we have I and then we have j. This is I and this is j. Okay. So now what is the I value right now? It is initially 0. Then j equal to I plus 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 I plus plus. Okay. So now if you see I plus plus, right? So first you take the I value. So what is my I value right now? It is 0. Okay. So first you take the I value, because whenever I comes at the beginning, you have to take the I value. Then you have to increment it by 1. Plus plus means increment it by 1. So 0 plus 1 is what? 1. That's how we increment it. Then next plus, again I plus plus. So now what happened? I plus plus means, so first you take the I value. What is my I value right now? It is 1. So 1 will be taken here. Then I value will be incremented by 2. Then 0 plus 1 is what? 1. Then my j value will be what? 1 here. So that is I value is 2, j value is what? 1 for me. Same concept if you see, this is actually what? Post increment. Next one is pre-increment or decrement. So pre-increment I'll go. Integer I is equal to 0. Integer j is equal to plus plus I plus 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 I. Now integer I equal to 0. So it creates me memory location I, and what is my j value. This is j. Initially my I value is what? 0. Then next actually what? Now here j equal to plus plus I plus 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 I. So plus plus I means plus comes at the beginning. That means first increment the I value by 1. Okay. The thing is, first whenever plus comes over there, we have to increment it by 1 first. Then only take the I value. That will be 1 plus plus I. Once again, now what happened? I'm going to increment the I value by 1. 1 plus 1 will be what? 2. Okay. So then next actually what? Plus plus I. We have incremented it, then I have to take the value. So what is the I value? That is 2 for me here. Then 1 plus 2 is what? 3. That will be my J value here. Question. Any questions for anyone on this? Everyone's clear?
First one, post increment is right. I plus plus.
Yes, I plus plus.
Can you explain one more time? Because
Sure.
it's
Okay.
first.
Yeah, so I'll increment. So now if you see, I integer I equal to 0. So this will be 0 now. Then integer j equal to I plus 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 I plus plus. So I plus plus. So that means what? First take the I value. So what is the current I value? That is 0 for me here. Correct?
Yeah.
That 0 will be taken here.
So plus plus means 1.
Correct. Then
So
after
0
that plus plus. Now it will increment the I value by 1. 0 plus 1 is what? 1. Clear?
No, but it won't be here as a 1 in a 0 place.
No, the thing is, it's post increment, right? So first increment, actually, first take the I value, then increment it. Then
Correct.
keep
So that incremented value 1 will not be added to this 0. It will go to the
it
next
should
one.
not come. It should not come because that is what post increment. Only memory should be increased. Pre increment, what will happen? Sorry, this is pre. Pre-increment means what? Means first increment the I memory location, then after that only take the I value. Got it? That is what pre-increment. First increment the memory location, then only take the I value. Post-increment means first take the I value, then only increment the I memory location. Got it, Rajkumar? Hello?
Yeah, got it.
Got it? Cool. Now again I plus plus. So now what happened? First, what is the I value right now? That is 1. Then after that plus plus. So now what will happen? It will be incremented 1 plus 1, that will be 2. That is what will happen. So 0 plus 1 is 1 for me. So my J value will be what? 1 here.
So that 2 is in memory, I memory.
I value is 2, J value is 1. Pre-increment, if you see, still actually what we are incrementing by 1 year. But we are incrementing at the beginning. But finally, when you see, I value will be 2 only. J value actually what will be the combination of actually the I and then the information. So that's why here I value is 2, J value is 3 for me here. First we are incrementing the memory location, then only we are utilizing it. Any questions? Can both of you ping me as yes in the chat window if you have understood this concept? Cool. Cool then. So now I want you guys to execute this program. Okay, I'll give a 5 minutes break. You guys want, can we continue or you want me to take it tomorrow? I just want to know because it's 10:30. So let me know you want us to continue or tomorrow we'll see.
We'll continue tomorrow because it's already 10:30.
Sure, cool. No worries. So tomorrow we'll continue with the post-increment and pre-increment level.
Is it possible to take the class at 8:30 every day? I mean, like, how many classes are there?
No, that's it. This is post-increment, pre-increment, the last topic. If I take it for the next 15 minutes, it will be completed.
Because I didn't have a dinner yet.
No problem. No, tomorrow we'll take it over there.
I was held up with the testing, so I have sent the report and just.
Oh, sure. No worries. Tomorrow we'll just have it for 15 to 20 minutes. Then we can close it.
Okay, so that's all for the pending classes.
Correct. That's the pending class.
So we can continue with the morning classes itself.
Yes, morning sessions. As you guys have already came from the if conditions and all those things, right?
Yeah.
So that is what there.
Okay, got it.
Okay.
Tomorrow is the same timings, 9 o'clock?
Tomorrow is the same time, 9 o'clock.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Thanks, guys.
Yeah,
Thanks,
good night.
Virginia. Thanks, Rajkumar. See you. Bye-bye. Good night.